Feet-a-loon. I'm Chris.
And I'm Wesley.
My beefy, cheesy loon.
I am beefy, yes,
and very
I'm
cheesy. And you're sandwiched all of that up into a beautiful thing. Gosh, what are we making today?
That's awesome.
That is really awesome. And we are ecstatic because we're
making one of our favorite sandwiches in the whole world.
It is. It really is. Let's tell them. We're doing
Philly cheesesteak.
Yes! It hails from the brother of city love. The brother of city
city
love.
of brotherly love.
Oh, I see.
You need a vacation.
I do need a vacation, and I need a Philly cheesesteak. So
we love Philly cheesesteaks. We used to live in New Jersey, like an hour away from Philly, and we would drive to Philly to get a really good Philly cheesesteak.
So we're going to show you, and we learned a lot of tips and tricks because believe me, they are very serious about the way you make a Philly cheesesteak.
Totally.
But I'm going to turn my. So one of the you can do this in a school. I can't speak today. In a skillet. Or you can, if you have a griddle like this, an indoor griddle, it's even better if you have like a grill that has one of those great grill plates on, or a skillet plate on it, a griddle. That's great. Any of that kind of stuff will work. But we're doing it on our good old indoor griddle that's going to work perfectly.
And this thing was so inexpensive, so anybody can grab one.
Yeah, so I have a link to it in the blog post. There's other really fancy ones that you can get. We're going to be a little careful because we don't want to cut and chop too much on this like they do in Philly. We're going to show you how we're going to do that. But let's talk. There's just a few components to a Philly cheesesteak, and they're all super important.
Yes.
And it starts with the bun.
The bread.
So let's talk about the bread.
So these are Amorosos. These are from Philadelphia. I love these because they're so chewy. Like I love a chewy bun.
I know.
That one that just doesn't disintegrate when you're eating your Philly cheesesteak. It's got to be like just hold on to it.
These are Italian style buns.
So
and they're made in Philadelphia. You can order them online. I have a link for them, and they're so
Or
great.
just find a really chewy bun.
If you can't, if you don't have access to these, then any kind of a hoagie, chewy bun, as Wesley says, will work. Tell them how we did this.
Yeah, so we took our two buns, and I had to use the serrated knife just to open it up a little more. And you press it down, and then we buttered each side, and then I handed it over to Chris, and he put it on the griddle for us.
You're gonna
toasted
get them nice and toasty. That's key.
Yes.
You want them nice and toasty. You can do this in advance of everything else that you've done.
So good.
Okay, so now we've talked about that. So now on the
we talked about the buns.
We got our buns out of the way. So now we've got this over pretty high heat, pretty medium high heat, and now we're going to caramelize some onions.
Yes.
So I have got about close to 2 tablespoons. That's about a tablespoon and a half of just some good old vegetable oil, and then I've got some roughly cut onion here that we are. Oh, this is another one of those critical components.
Well, it is critical for some. It's not critical for everyone.
Well, okay, yeah, we'll talk about the way you order these things.
Yeah,
he's given a little. The way you order them is really particular, and there's a specific way you do it.
And you have to do it fast.
You have to do it fast because they don't have time for you waiting around. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. So we're going to let these go until they get nice and brown, really soft, and get that kind of caramelization happening. And that takes a few minutes. It's going to probably take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And then we're going to talk about the meat.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
those look delicious.
Smell so good. So
I love caramelized onions.
I do too. So you may have been thinking, wow, that seems like a lot of onions that he's tossing on that on that griddle. And these really do cook down as they caramelize.
Those look lovely.
So they really look great. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to scoop
them up.
If I had like one of those big old outdoor grills, or like they have in like a diner, you could just scoop it against the wall, and it would be so easy.
Those are fine.
I know they're good. Here, will you do finish me? Get the rest of these while I get my meat. Here we go.
There you go.
Okay.
Teamwork.
So that actually ended up. I said 5 to 10 minutes. It's going to be more on the 10-minute end. Even you want to get them really soft and really get that brown caramelization, and that took closer to like 12 to 15 minutes. So scratch the fact that I said 10 minutes. Oh, scratch that. I'm gonna add a little more oil.
Add some more oil.
Add just a little more oil, as the loon calls it. And then I'm just going to kind of spread this around a little bit. Just spread the love.
Oh, I love this.
So now this is obviously, it's a beef steak. So this is probably the most important feature of a beef steak. I'm just going to put these all on.
Throw them on there.
So this is ribeye steak, one of my favorite steaks in the world to cook with. And what I do, a lot of times, a real easy way to do this is and first of all, let me see. You're just going to want to put it on here and kind of let it. Don't fiddle with it too much. Just let it cook, and it's going to start to brown on the underneath, and then we're going to flip it over. It doesn't take long. But what you can do is, a lot of people do this, you just get a nice good old ribeye steak, a big beefy one, put it in your freezer for about 20 minutes to get nice and stiff, and then you're going to slice it really thinly. Now what you can also do, what we do, is we love going to our butcher, and he's got a big old, like a roast of ribeye, basically. And he slices it on the deli slicer and gets it nice and thin, the same thinness, but it's a little too big. So you want them the smaller strips.
Right.
A little thickness is okay.
Just cut them up into smaller pieces.
So cut them up into sort of like this size of meat, okay? And then, so that's what you're going to want.
Yes.
And you're going to want to get a little bit of browning going on right there, which is perfect. Oh my gosh.
Those look delicious.
They look great. Okay, now another really important aspect of this is making sure you season them. The last thing you want to do is go through all of this beautiful preparation and not season them properly.
Exactly.
I mean, a Philly cheesesteak needs, and that just means you got to give it some salt and pepper.
Give some salt.
Hit
Give
it with a
some
good
loving.
old dose of salt. I'm going to make sure these are all
Good and done.
feeling the love of that nice griddle. And the smell is just, there is something just magical about these ingredients to come together to make like the greatest sandwich. We've said that about a few sandwiches. We're crazy about
The
sandwiches.
dogs are right below us.
Yes.
It's hysterical.
They are.
I love it.
Hello.
I love it.
They are salivating. Okay, so now, like I said, I would say hit this with
Plenty of salt,
teaspoon of
yes.
salt. Now, so the recipe that we're giving you is going to make easily 4 sandwiches, and it also depends on the size of your bun
Of
here.
your buns.
So sometimes in Philly, sometimes you get really big old buns. You get big buns in Philly, and so you're gonna be able to fill them more.
You get footlongs,
You get
basically.
footlongs, yeah. These are not quite as big.
Yeah.
So you can just gauge how much you want. I ended up going. It's going to probably be about half a pound of meat, 3/4 pound of meat on each sandwich. Okay.
Right.
So now what we're going to do,
Yay.
it's time to add in these beautiful, amazing onions that we did.
Yes.
And we're just going to mix them right. Oh, you guys, this all just comes together to form the most
can't even
amazing,
tell you.
delicious sandwich. So as you know, Philadelphia obviously is really famous for their Philadelphia.
Yes, and there are two, sorry, interrupting.
Go ahead. That's
There
all
are
right.
2 main competitors, and you've probably heard of them. It's Pat and Gino's. Seriously, I could not tell you the difference between the two. They both taste extremely good.
I mean, if you're in Philly, if you've ever been to Philly, you got to check them out because
Right.
it is a fascinating story.
Yeah.
They're right across the street from each other.
Yeah.
They have a lot of history. But another kind of fun thing to do, and
Is find a not so famous place.
talk to what we love to do when we go on our foodie excursions, which we haven't been doing so much lately because we live in a pandemic at the moment. But see, let me just tell you what I'm doing here. So you're going to want to turn off the
Little
heat.
piles. Put a little more over there for that one.
Okay, thanks.
No, that
Over
one to
here-
that
yeah,
one.
Yeah. So you're going to turn off the heat, and now we're going to
Right. You don't want to overcook them.
No, you do not want to eat. And now we're going to put on the provolone. So I'm rushing you. So now this,
Slow down,
because
partner.
I want this to melt. So I like my cheesesteaks to be really
Real
cheesy.
cheesy.
I mean, that's why they call them cheesesteaks. So it depends on how much meat you've got going right there. But the residual heat just from this is going to, so I've got 3 slices of provolone. What I was going to say, just real quickly, is that there are cheesesteaks all throughout Philadelphia and all throughout, the world. The Philly ones, I think, are the best. Talk to some locals when you go.
Yeah,
Find out where we do that every time,
Totally.
and they all kind of have their own opinions. And so go and check it out. Gino's and Pat's is a blast, and they're great.
Yes.
So tell them about the way you order a cheesesteak.
Okay,
in Philly.
so we were talking about the onions earlier, and well, there's the 2 things. There's the cheese and the onions. The cheese you identify by saying either Prove, it's usually Prove, which is provolone, or Whiz, which is Cheese Whiz.
Cheese Whiz.
And then
cheesy cheese whiz. Yes,
Right.
that's what. Yeah.
And then the second part is the wit. So it's wit or wit out, and that's the onions.
Referencing the onions.
Yeah, so we're having ours Prove Wit.
So if you wanted
Thank
to have it no onions but with cheese whiz, what would you say?
We'd say whiz without.
Okay, we're pretty certain we've got that right. If we're not, believe me, you can read the comments about how we got it wrong.
Exactly.
Okay, so now this has gotten
Look
all
at
nice
that.
and melty.
That's wonderful.
We're just going to take these sandwiches, these buns, and I'm just going to scoop that meat right up in there, and that cheese is just going to be all melty in there, and that's the way this is supposed to do.
Look at that. Love
it's
that.
supposed to just kind of fall all over the place and be beautiful. You may not get all of it in there, but stuff it. Oh my goodness.
Stuff that.
I mean, that is.
That's so good. I can't even.
I know.
That's all going into my mouth.
Now, sometimes the loon, being the loon, loves to put a little
I love a
slathering.
little mayonnaise on
He
there.
likes to sometimes put a little mayonnaise, but that's not traditional, but that's okay. Okay, so now let's, there we go. Oh, yeah, look at that cheese. That's what you call a cheese
You're like
pull.
cheese cinch.
I love it. I said if you're going to do a cheese steak, why would you be chintzy on your cheese? That sounds, I've learned from you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got a little messy on that one.
That's okay.
This one though, look at that, y'all.
Oh my
All
gosh.
right, I'm gonna need a napkin. Thank
Yeah,
you.
possibly a gurney.
All right. I have been sitting here watching this being made, and now I'm going to eat it. Oh, look at that. Look at that. You guys, Chris.
That's a Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah.
I hope our friends from Philly are proud. I guess we should take a bite first. I mean, there are things that melt him, and there are things that melt him. When it's done right, are you back to 6th Street?
Steak and cheese melt me.
But there's something about it really transforms those basic ingredients into just something that's uniquely.
Onions?
The onion is a big
Did you tell him I sometimes put a little mayonnaise on mine?
Yes, we already talked about that.
Well, I was too mesmerized by
I know,
this
by
sandwich.
that. I'm
Wow,
just
you
sitting.
guys. That is so good. That bun is key. It's
Yes.
chewy. You just like pull it away, and that onion and get some salt and pepper in there.
And some probe, yeah.
And the probe. I like a little probe.
I love to salt mine up.
Y'all, I'm gonna say it.
Yeah?
This is 1,000% Luna probe.
Yes, I had a feeling. I had a feeling.
Even with your messy sandwich over there.
Now, who in Philly is gonna? If you went up to someone in Philly and said, "You know what, your sandwich is a little messy," you'd get slapped to the ground.
Isn't it just delicious?
Oh my gosh. I mean, Pat and Gino, come on over. We got a sandwich for you.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good.
Wow. Now.
The Liberty Bell. I can hear it ringing.
Yeah. You can get this recipe on howtofeedaloon.com. Wow, Chris, that is so good.
Thanks. I love it. We can thank our friends in Philadelphia.
Yes.
So go to our social media, like us, share us, do all of that. Make Philly cheesesteaks.
Do it.
Be happy. Celebrate.
What is our friend Jill from Philly? She goes, yo, yo, I'm a Philly girl.
Yo, Philly girl, yeah. Anyway, we love you, Philly. We love everyone.
love
you guys are the best.
Yes.
You rock. Make
Yeah.
sandwiches and be happy.
Hey everybody!
Hi, guys.
Now if you want to be a part of the Loon Fun, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to hit that little bell icon so you won't miss a single recipe.
That's right. Oh, and speaking of recipes, if you want another amazing recipe like
Yeah.
this, then just click right here.
Yeah, click!
Click!
Subscribe!
It's so much fun.